Welcome to our South Australian podcast for 2011. Andrew Barr will cover off on the South Australian market. I trust you enjoy today's presentation. Thank you.
Andrew, how have you seen the Adelaide office leasing market this year?
I get asked that question a lot, and I guess it depends on what hat I'm wearing at the time, on how I answer it. From an ownership point of view, the market's very strong. It's not 5-6% vacant, it's 95% occupied. The vacancy that we do have is in the bottom sort of C, D grade space in the market. There's very little, if any, vacancy in the premium and A grade market, particularly of large contiguous amounts. Rents are solid, incentives are holding strong, and we're getting some good rental growth through the last sort of 6 to 8 months and expect that to continue. I guess with my agent's hat on though, it's a slightly different story. Demand has been patchy at best over the last 6 to 8 months particularly. There's a real level of cautiousness in the market, and while capital restrictions within the business remains pretty tight, just having a real impact on the levels of demand that we're seeing. The level of supply, I guess, also is probably a leading factor. We don't have a lot of space to offer, so whether that has some impact on the amount of demand we're getting. And I'd say stay put. Any time we're dealing with a potential tenant is the biggest sort of competitor we face at the moment.
So what's happening with supply at the moment?
We've got a really tight market. I think I said earlier, most of the supply we've got is in that C and D grade sector. There are very few large amounts of contiguous spaces in the market. So a tenant looking for a couple of thousand square metres for lease between now and the end of 2012 is going to be severely restricted in their options. I mean, as a result, we're seeing a lot of tenants looking for 2013 lease commencements come out to the market now. The impact of a few new buildings and the secondary space they're going to leave behind is going to be an interesting point moving forward. With the ATO building, the SA Police building, the Adelaide Bendigo Bank building, it's going to see about 60,000 square metres of space enter the market in sort of late 2012, early 2013, albeit it is in that secondary type grade. And while this is a large amount of space, I guess the good thing is it is being marketed now and tenants are considering this space now. So we don't expect it to have a massive impact on the actual vacancy figure come sort of mid-2013, where we I think forecasting about 10% vacancy at its max. And then, like I said, that limited supply at the moment is probably seeing as a result of the patchy demand.
Andrew, we hear a lot in the media about Adelaide being in a mining boom. What are your thoughts on this?
I'd say we're in an exploration boom rather than a mining boom at this point. There's a lot of mining companies in the state, and they certainly are active, but I guess they are still drilling for sites as opposed to full production mode, and it's really only that production mode that we can see the flow on to white collar employment in the CBD. Our research department just carried out a study on the CBD tenancy profile, and it showed that direct resources is only represented by about 5% of the occupancy of the market. You compare that to a Brisbane, which is running at sort of 10 to 15% of the total market, CBD market, and Perth even more so. We've got a long way to go before I'd say we're probably in a mining boom from a office occupation type scenario. The recent announcement of both the state and federal government approval to the BHP Olympic Dam project is certainly going to be a big boost for the state, and I guess one step closer to a green light on the project. That'll have a massive effect on the CBD, probably in the first instance on the services consultants and things that actually win the contracts to get the exploration stage. Obviously there's a lot of work on that mine before it gets into production mode, but we'd like to see that push on, and hopefully that fills into a bit more of the service type engineering inquiry that you had sort of pre-GFC when it sort of went on hold a bit.
So where do you see opportunities for building owners moving forward?
Yeah, I'd say in the next sort of 12 to 18 months, if you've got a vacancy, keep your powder dry, for lack of a better word. The vacancy is very small, so if there's a vacancy in your building, demand might be patchy and the tenants are a bit fewer and far between, but hold yourself strong on rents and incentives, and we don't have to do anything crazy just at this point. I guess from a building point of view, commit to your building. So if it's a cosmetic upgrade or commitment to ESD and neighbours rating, can only help future-proof your building now, and it's going to go a long way to helping you retain probably your bigger tenants in the market in your building, and so you better get some better deals and renewals for sitting tenants, particularly in the next sort of 12 to 18 months. So overall, I'd say it is an owner's market, and they can sit back and probably enjoy some rental returns and things that they haven't got over the last sort of 10 years. 10 years prior. There is a bit of supply coming on, but not to be too concerned about it. And if they commit to their buildings, i.e. future-proofing with ESD and upgrade works, then the future should be pretty good for the CBD market.
Thanks for watching our Regional Office podcast for 2011. I really hope you enjoyed the series. Thanks for watching.